Hello, kings and queens and monarchs.
Matilda Galindo.
I am so excited for this new video because the scripted videos are back. I miss them so much. I haven't done a scripted video in like a month. I've just been yapping my ass off, and even though it's fun, I crave scripted videos from time to time because they're fun to make and I can say exactly what I want to say and I just sound stupid for like 10 minutes. So today's video topic is something that I think people from my generation and the generation before me can relate to a lot, because I personally think that these generations have been introduced to shame and embarrassment in a very different way in comparison to past generations. If you think about it, the past generations have been induced to shame and embarrassment in the form of prejudices, I hope I'm saying that right, like misogyny and homophobia. But when it comes to newer generations, shame and embarrassment has been reintroduced in the form of cringe. This whole issue has been born hand in hand with this wave of wellness lifestyle, which, if you haven't heard about this, lucky you. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I obviously believe that you have to take care of yourself, and it's good that we're promoting that. But it has gotten to a point where it's not even about taking care of yourself, it's about kind of like a competition. That's how it feels. It kind of feels like there can be a single moment where we're not improving in some sort of way. You're not an improvement project, dude. Like, no. And because of this, judging ourselves has become more and more common because we're constantly improving ourselves in some sort of way. And here's the funny thing. The fact that we are constantly judging every other past version of ourselves is, ironically, stopping us from growing. The easiest way to grow is acceptance. You literally can't move on if you don't accept the things that have happened in your life and the versions that you of yourself that you have been. You can't move on and you can't grow without acceptance. One of my favorite quotes says, "We can't sit and stare at our wounds forever." Which I know this quote is referring to a present self, but I think it can also be used in this type of context. When we are on a journey of growth, the last thing we should be doing is stare at our wounds forever, because that's probably going to make it harder for you to accept that that version of yourself existed. And when it comes to our child self, especially, the wound is going to be bigger. Because when you're so little and you know only so much about the world, things affect you in a much bigger sense. Now I'm going to go in order of time to remind you and me the importance of self-acceptance of every version of ourselves, okay? Okay? I feel like the child version of ourselves is the one that we're the most forgiving of or the most empathic to. But still, I have caught myself sometimes kind of judging my child self and undermining the issues I had back then or the worries that a child might have. But what we tend to forget is how much more vulnerable we were at that time. The things that now wouldn't affect us are the same things that would send our child self into a breakdown immediately. It doesn't mean that we were weak, it just meant that with the resources we had in our hands at the moment, when we were a child, a literal child, that's the way you're gonna react because you don't have any other resources. Especially, I don't know if I should say this, like, yeah, especially with the way that everyone has been raised. Obviously, everyone is raised differently, but usually when a child is neglected, it's much more harder for them to like cope with stuff. Even stuff that a normal child or a child that wasn't neglected could perfectly cope with, you know? But maybe we could learn a thing or two about acceptance from our child selves. Now, I'm just gonna touch a little bit on the topic of also like your teenagers or pre-teenager self, because I do think it's very important, and I think it's something that it's not really talked about enough, which is that, you know, we as a generation, we joke so much about like, oh my god, I was so cringe back in 2020, and oh my god, like, you know. And even though, yeah, it can be funny sometimes, those type of jokes, it can also really fuck up many people, not only ourselves. But especially in 2020, if you were a preteen or a teen in 2020, that was a time where you had a real opportunity to like completely and fully discover yourself without the fear of feeling judged, because no one was watching you, so you felt this freeness. And can you really blame a teenager for trying to discover themselves? Also, I've noticed something that is that usually with these jokes of, oh my god, I was so cringe back in 2020, it also comes, like, our wokeness came in first full circle, and now they're joking about trans people and how like, oh my god, it was so cringe that I was trans in 2020. What are you talking about, babe? Like, okay, I get that some people, like, it's okay if you discovered yourself and then you were like, okay, this is not for me, I am not trans, maybe. But why joke about it? Like, yeah, I don't feel like it's necessary. Sorry, I got a little out of topic there. It's just something that kind of pisses me off. What I'm trying to say is that I think we are more judgy and more unforgiving with our teenager self. I think that's where we most judge ourselves. I don't know why. I think it's because of this thing that I said at the beginning of the video, that is like, shame has been reintroduced in the form of cringe, and how cringe we were when we were teenagers or back in 2020 or whatever. And it kind of makes me sad. I don't think our teenagers selves deserve that, really. What I'm trying to say is that it does make me a little bit sad that we judge ourselves so harshly, our past selves. Because that person that you're judging is exactly the person that made you who you are now. And who you can be proud of, you know? That person survived the most horrible days, probably. So, why did I say probably like that? Sorry. So just be nice to yourself, bro. There's no need to judge. And free yourself from the cringe ideas that you have in your head. Because I know it's so hard to like believe that cringe doesn't exist or whatever. But I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Be cringe. Okay? Well, that's another topic that I'm gonna yap about another day. So don't worry about it. So yeah, I think that was all. I hope you liked today's video. Please be nice to yourself. Growth, the only way to actually grow as a person is to accept yourself as a person and the other past selves that you have had. There's literally no other way. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, I hope you have a great day. And a little side note, I look like Michael Scott a little bit. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, or a great night, or a great afternoon. I hope you take care of yourself and you appreciate yourself and you accept yourself. And thanks for watching. This was a nice video. I missed scripted videos so much. Oh my god, I miss them so much. Okay, I love you. Stay tuned for next week or like in a few days because I'm gonna be posting some music. So, okay, I love you. Thank you for watching.